The reason I'm here today with the governor is I've been in the House and the Senate for a while now, and I've never been more worried about a piece of legislation than I am H.R. 1. Now, why am I worried? H.R. 1 is an attempt by the radical left to take over every election system in the country. H.R. 1 would be the federalization of elections for Congress. It would be in violation of the Constitution, in my view, but the contents of this bill should scare everybody in South Carolina and throughout the nation who believe in robust voting but integrity at the ballot box. Number one, it does away with voter ID requirements. H.R. 1 would eliminate the ability of any state to require a voter to prove you are who you are. That, to me, is stunning. You can't get on an airplane. You can't go anywhere in this country. You can't apparently do much for Delta and Coca-Cola shareholders. You have to have an ID to go to the shareholder meeting. So it would eliminate voter ID. It would take away from the states the ability to redistrict for congressional purposes. What does that mean to South Carolina? That's a disaster for us. We have 7 members of Congress now because our population in South Carolina is growing. Every few years, you redistrict the House of Representatives based on population growth. Where people are moving out of the deep blue liberal states because of taxes and crime, they're coming to Texas and South Carolina and Florida, and under the laws of the land today, you leave it up to the states with court oversight to draw the new congressional districts. This bill would eliminate that. They would create a federal panel to take away from South Carolina the ability to draw our congressional lines. That's a tremendous infringement on the ability of a state to run its election as envisioned by the Constitution. Ballot harvesting, that becomes the law of the land. What does that mean? It means a third party can collect ballots of other people. They can walk through neighborhoods, walk through community centers, walk through nursing homes, and collect ballots and, in theory, drop them off at the right place. But that is ripe for fraud because if you have the wrong person collecting the ballot, they'll throw some of them in the garbage can. Ballot harvesting, I think, is a threat to democracy as we know it. It allows same-day voter registration, which I think is to be problematic. It requires the federal government to finance campaigns. There's a requirement in this bill that the federal government will provide $6 to every candidate who raises $1 from low-dollar donations. Remember our election? If you're in the TV business, I hope all of you got raises because it's not because they couldn't afford to give you money if they wanted to. I spent $110 million, and Jamie Harrison, I think, was $132. Under this bill, for every low-dollar donation we both received, you'd get $6. You're talking about over $1 billion available to campaign in South Carolina. Who wants to go through that? So all I can say is it's the biggest power grab since I've been in Congress. It will take away every state's ability to run free and fair elections. It will do away with the requirement for voter identification. It will take away the ability of a state to redistrict and send it up to the federal government. It institutionalizes ballot harvesting and requires mail-in voting as the way to go, that you'll get a ballot whether you want one or not. This, to me, is a very serious attempt to alter the balance of power, to centralize in the federal government a voting system that's ripe for fraud at the expense of every American who wants to vote fairly.